Kia ora, ko Anthony Hoite toko ingoa. I am a Professor of Architecture here at the University of Auckland's School of Architecture and Planning. This research is about the inequity within the tertiary education system in relationship to Māori. Young Māori under the age of 25 constitute around 1/3 of 30% of the population, but as far as university enrolments, Māori are only 12%. So what's going on? And this research called TUA is looking to increase Māori admissions to architecture school. Research. And so we're using a sort of evidence-based process or method to understand the situation of Māori enrolments at universities. We did a data set. We looked and approached all the 6 architecture schools in New Zealand, and we go beyond instincts and gut feelings, and we use sort of evidence-based to determine what the actual situation is. We still only have less than 5% of students at architecture school who are Māori. We're not giving enough value to the parallel system of knowledge, mātauranga Māori, the ability to speak another language, the ability to do cultural practices, which, let's face it, if we were in Europe, would be celebrated. It's just that we've had some sort of legacy of subconscious bias and cultural snobbery, which has diminished the value of Indigenous culture. Here are 4 possible ideas on how we could improve the inequity of Māori admissions into architecture school. Number 1, as I've mentioned before, is a calibration of mātauranga Māori. That's the language. Many Māori are bilingual, and yet that for a New Zealander is quite a rarity. So recognition of the language, of things like kapahaka and the culture, to augment any Western qualifications you get from school. The second way is, actually I think we need to allow remote learning from the whenua. For many Māori, because of the socio-economic effects of colonisation, coming to Auckland is pretty flippin' expensive. So if they could stay on the whenua, stay on those maraes, and use that sort of blended learning which we've understood for post-COVID, that would make it cheaper and more accessible for Māori. So point 2, remote learning from the whenua. Number 3rd point is, again, it relates to the socio-economic tremors of colonisation. It's a bold one. For Māori, no fees. Yeah. So it's basically a targeted admission system support with no fees, and then finally the 4th one is better support once you arrive here. So make sure that there are tutors and practice that supports Māori through that transition. Well, firstly, our cities will look and feel more Māori. They'll look more from the place we're from, the South Pacific, Polynesia. And maybe too, if we return to the past and think of our first Māori city, we can integrate and better reconcile the natural and built environments. The value of having more Māori in architecture school is not just for Māori, it's also for New Zealand. Māori tend to be connected to the whenua, connected to the natural environment, and so with that we're going to have better care for that environment, and also with that bring in implications of things like climate change and waste management. In the future, I can see buildings which are reminiscent of these old hilltop kāinga where Māori occupied the tops of monga, and I can see 6 to 7 story medium density buildings crowned with sky marae. That's wharekai, the wharenui, on land which is privately purchased, so it's not on the whenua Māori of another iwi. And I can see beneath the sky marae, they're naturally ventilated down to apartments which ring the outside of these sorts of buildings for natural daylight. Maybe we've got recreational spaces in the middle, kura and schools lower down, and finally retail spaces on ground level, and reduced reliance on the car in the basement because we're building more dense. We'll be walking, we'll be cycling, we'll be skateboarding, we'll be using micro modalities. We'll have better care and manaaki for our cities through greater attention, greater love.